Welcome to the Equip Business Coaching podcast series with David Beatty. My name's Terry Turon, and today we're discussing building lasting relationships with clients. Welcome back, David.
Thanks, Terry. Great to see you again.
Now, this is very interesting. We've discussed technology and trends and whatever, but this is sort of some of the nitty-gritty. This is dealing with people and clients. Why is building lasting relationships with clients important for real estate agents?
I think the best way, Terry, to build a sustainable business in real estate sales is through referrals. And strong relationships is what builds trust and therefore enables referrals. Building strong relationships is what's going to build trust.
Staying on trust, what are some of the key strategies for establishing that trust and rapport with clients from the initial meeting?
If we were to have the expectation that the client is starting with a low level of trust, what we want to do is build that trust higher, and that will therefore build the relationship to be stronger. And some of those basic things that you can do, which is going to sow the right seeds for building stronger relationships, is just simply doing what you promised to do. So being careful what you promise, and then make sure that you deliver on that. Rather under-promise and over-deliver, as they say. And then secondly, communicate around things before your client even asks about it. So you should know your business well enough to know that your seller or your buyer is thinking of something, or they're worried about something. Well, then be proactive in communicating that. For example, sellers are wanting to know how many buyers came through, what's the buyer interest, etc. Well, then give a routine where you are proactively communicating that.
As we know, everyone's different. How can agents personalize their approach to better connect with clients on a deeper level?
I think basic things like using your client's name. I think that's a very basic thing, but that's a good start. And then keep in touch, especially around issues specific to the client. For example, their birthdays, their house purchase anniversary dates, and other matters relating to their kids. So if you have a CRM system, for example, record their children's names. And when you connect with your clients, chat and ask them specifically about their children, for example.
I mean, those are all great tips. What role does effective communication play in maintaining those long-term relationships that you've now built up?
Just to go back to my first point, it's about building trust. And trust is made up of competence and character. So which means that your clients want to know, can you actually do the job? Are you excellent at your job and the work that you promised to do? And number two is, can I trust you? Are you honest? Do I like you? Do I connect with you? And communicating effectively means that you're building trust. And that's going to help with the long-term relationship quality.
Okay, now the next one, I might be getting you to divulge one of your personal industry secrets. But how can agents exceed clients' expectations to leave a lasting impression?
Actually do what you say you're going to do, which is, funny enough, is not actually doing more what you say you're going to do, but actually just, one of my team members, for example, is just very down to earth, but he's incredibly conscientious and thoughtful and proactive, and and the clients love him. And he's building a great business as a result. He's creating those lasting impressions.
Okay, sounds like a good guy to have around, really.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Are you able to share a memorable experience where building a strong relationship with a client led to long-term success?
Part of our other side of our business is a rental management business, and we've got some long-term landlords that have been with us close to 15 years, and we've been through lots of ups and downs. And what's kept that relationship alive is the fact that the client knows that we've got their back. They know we're not perfect as much as they're not perfect, but they know that we're always trying, that we're always committed, that we always are going to go that extra mile for them. We will also fight back where we believe a decision is not in their best interests. So we have a very open and frank relationship, which over time has built that trusted relationship where we are very well connected with one another. And as much as we can't do without them as a valuable client, we know that they can't do without us either as a valued partner to help their property business go forward. And I think that two-way street where you almost both parties can't do without one another because of that trusted relationship, I think that's where you ultimately want to be.
Interesting. You mentioned ups and downs in your answer there. My next question was going to be, life is life. Things happen. How do you handle challenging situation or conflicts even with clients while maintaining a positive relationship?
Yeah, look, I mean, we all people, we're going to disappoint one another. So I think the first thing with a difficult client or with conflict is just to show the understanding. At least listen and show the other person that you are hearing them out and that you're seeking to understand the problem. Acknowledge their emotion. You may not agree with it, but just acknowledge, as opposed to immediately fighting back. Suck it up, absorb it a bit, acknowledge it, let them get their emotion out. And then once that's been acknowledged, try and define and agree on what the actual problem is. Because we in the heat of the moment, try and solve a problem which is not actually the problem. So I think it's simply show respect and then focus on solving the problem, notwithstanding all of that. Don't accept abuse. I think if there is abuse happening, then I would suggest saying to the client, let's chat later when we can talk in a more civil manner. But when you do talk in a civil manner, acknowledge where they're coming from, and then try and define the problem and seek to solve that problem.
That's a great point that you mentioned there about resolving it in a civil manner. Often you're right. You need to take a step back and just everyone must calm down, neutral corners, and then do it when everybody's in the right headspace.
Yeah.
We've touched on technology in a previous podcast episode, but this is sort of a different question in that how can agents leverage technology and automation to enhance their client relationships without losing the personal touch, all that trust and things that you've mentioned before?
Yeah, Terry, we sometimes think that technology depersonalizes relationships, and it sometimes is the case. But what we want to do as estate agents is to have as many productive relationships as possible. And that's what technology enables us to do. So as opposed to having to try and remember to call someone on a Monday, I have an automated system, for example, a CRM system that will remind me to call this client on Monday. It will remind me about birthdays and maybe even send out an automated birthday message to the client. That's not depersonalizing the relationship. That is, in fact, enhancing the relationship using technology. So I think let's not be scared to use the technology to help us be more efficient. Of course, the personalized phone calls and emails is important, but underlying it is technology showing us a way to be more efficient.
Great. Now, wrapping this whole thing up, everyone's always looking for information. What advice would you give to new agents looking to build lasting relationships with their clients?
I'll suggest a short 4-step process. Number 1, build a list of everyone you know. Number 2 is make contact with them. Initial contact, saying that you are in the marketplace as an estate agent. And if there's anything to do with property, you're the person to be connected with. Number 3 is add some kind of value on a consistent basis, whether it's a newsletter email, whether it's a drop-by gift every now and again, for example. And then number 4 is be consistent. Over a period of time, if you've got a database that you're connecting with on a consistent basis and you're adding value into that database, you will get referrals and build long-term relationships. But you need to get started, and there's no better time than now.
Straight out for this podcast, you mean?
Absolutely.
Great, David. Thank you very much again for your time. These podcasts are actually very informative and you share some valuable insights. So thanks again for this initiative and for taking the time.
Thanks, Terry.
Cheers. This was the Equip Business Coaching podcast series with David Beatty. See you next time.